Absolutely red hot.
It's that's what we're going to chat today. Lake Monticello. What happened since Maggie was here last visiting us at the lake, and what's happening in your life?
Gosh, so I don't even know. I'm sitting here. I actually thought about this morning. What did I do Saturday night? And I couldn't remember.
Well, that was like a whole lifetime ago. Saturday
I know,
night.
and I had a fantastic Saturday night, so I can't believe I forgot it. But
well, in our business, 2 days is a long time.
It is a long
Especially
time.
during COVID.
During COVID, and we're going to get to some numbers here. There's been a substantial uptick in volume between the last time Maggie was here and now overall. So we'll talk about that once we go live.
Well, we're excited to spotlight it. We are streaming to every social media platform known to mankind. Judah Wickhauer, my friend, our director. We can rock and roll when you're ready. Good Monday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the Monday Market Monitor. Thank you kindly for joining us here on the set of the I Love Seaville Network. The Monday Market Monitor presented by Closure Title and Insurance, also presented by Allied Property Management and the good people at Yes Realty Partners. Today's program is going to be a good one. We are live across Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world, and real estate is undoubtedly on the brain. The market red hot. Now that we're in Q4 of 2021, I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. Judah Wickhauer, our director, studio camera, if you could, and let's welcome two very talented agents, two very talented...
Oh God, realtors.
Realtors. Keith Smith and Maggie Gunnels.
He's trying to get me into trouble what he's trying to do because I can't.
Donna Patton gives him a hard time.
She's giving me a hard time too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
So it's just not me?
No.
She gives you a hard time saying realtor too?
That's right.
Yeah, but I'm from the north. You're from here. How come that happened?
It's a tricky word to say. We all want to add that extra syllable.
Everybody.
Well, I know the Yankees want to swallow it, so it's at the end.
Realtor.
Realtor. There you go. You said
Real
it
estate
perfectly.
professional.
Real estate professional is another one. So good morning.
Good morning.
Introduce yourself to all that are watching the program.
All right. So my name is Maggie Gunnels. I am owner of Gunnels Group, and we are a team of amazing group of talented women, and we represent mostly buyers and sellers at Lake Monticello. We do our fair share of business here in Charlottesville as well. So thank you so much for having me.
Well, you're everywhere. I see your closings and your pendings everywhere.
Hey, you're crushing it.
Yeah,
you're crushing it.
Thank you.
So it's hard to believe. It's been almost 2 months since you sat across from us to talk about Lake Monticello market, and a lot has kind of changed in the last 2 months. And I was just taking a quick look at some stats this last week versus the week that you came and visited us almost 2 months ago.
Right.
And the volume is up, right? We're not, our inventory is not growing, but the overall volume is. So just on what was new or new active between last time you were here 2 months ago and now, we're up a total of 35 units. But what's more important, that went into pending, we're up by 48 units week over week from 2 months ago. So the volumes are increasing. More homes are coming on the market, but more homes are going pending, and it's climbing up. Are you seeing that in your world?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're seeing more inventory, and but it's still going. I do think there is like a slight, at least at the lake, there's not, I think we talked about cliff diving before. There's slightly less cliff diving happening, but definitely like the market's very, very strong right now.
So define cliff diving for those who didn't watch last month.
Yeah.
Or 2 months ago, I should say.
Cliff diving, essentially you just buy a house with no due diligence whatsoever.
Bravo.
You are waiving your home inspection contingencies, you are waiving your appraisal contingencies, any opportunity that you have to get out of the contract for a reasonable reason, you are going to void that option for yourself. So it's dangerous for people. We had somebody submit an offer for $100,000 over. They were still in second place, so they went to 112.5, offered a trip to Europe, got it, almost waived the home inspection contingency, but didn't. Thank God. The house was getting eaten away by termites.
Get out of town.
But hopefully that was a cash transaction because it would never have appraised.
It was a really cool old farmhouse that had been remodeled improperly, and they encapsulated termites, and you couldn't see it. And
wow.
Yeah, and I think I don't know what ended. I know they took the house off market, but it had, I think, over 24 offers on it.
So
Trip to Europe.
My mind blew on that part. I just need to skip over that because I'm trying to figure out how do you work that into a contract. But that's a whole.
Did.
Yeah, I know, I get it, but whoa. So cliff diving has stopped.
Cliff diving, don't you think it stopped a little bit?
It has for us. I don't.
Yeah.
It's back, and we've been predicting this for quite some time.
Right.
We're back to normal. Volume has increased, though, which is good, right? More are coming on the market, but more are going pending, so it's kind of balancing out a little bit.
Definitely.
There's some weeks where it's a little bit more on one side, a little bit more on the other side. But it's back to what I think we want as professionals, which is a normal, stable way of doing business. But I wanted to give you some kudos and give us as a team, as an industry, kudos. This whole transaction you just outlined, and I've been saying this for 2.5 years, somebody can't do that on this iPhone, right? You need a trusted advisor. You need somebody like Maggie Group or Yes Realty Partners or any one of the thousands of 1,000+ realtors that are in our marketplace to help you, walk you through. How did I do it, realtors? Did I get it? No, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. Real estate professionals. I'll keep it with that. Real estate professionals to walk you through it because you can get through all this and then bam.
Right.
So walk us through that. How did that go? How did that conversation go with your client once you figured this out? Right.
So, well, luckily they didn't waive the home inspection contingency, and that was on us saying, don't do this. And so
let me back up a second. So the buyer wanted to move forward. You advised them against it, and they took your advice.
Correct.
Good for you.
Yes.
Good for
Give you props.
Good for you.
You just really saved them. You should have gotten the trip to Europe.
Well, yeah.
Seriously.
Well, think about it. I mean, they would have overpaid.
We'll carry bags, by the way.
Well, say that one more time.
We'll carry your bags, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I actually have a good story about that too, but
No. This is a family show. Family show.
If you think about it, they would have overpaid for a house.
Sure.
And then they would have overpaid for a house that was falling down. I mean, it would have fallen down. So the person that came in said that it had been eaten up like halfway through. I mean, it had been years and years and years of termite damage. Who knows? I don't know how you possibly missed that, but somebody did.
So we've been saying on this show for 2.5 years, 214, 13 shows. I can't remember which one this is. Hire a trusted advisor. What you just explained embodies that term. We throw around terms and sometimes they're a bit cliche-ish, but we mean this. We are trusted advisors. We are here to advise you through the process. And a little bit later, we're going to talk about new construction, and I want to ask you about how important it is to use a realtor or real estate agent or a real estate professional. This way I didn't offend anybody.
You're handling it well.
In a transaction, but I just wanted to look across the table and give you kudos. You stood your ground and said, no, you need to get this. Good for you.
Well, don't get me wrong. We've had clients waive home inspection contingency.
No, I get that. But you looked at the property, the age of the property, and you said you really don't want to do this.
Especially with something like that. But, I think at the same time, if people are going to go cliff diving, they at least need to know the risks of doing that. And I think a lot of people, I have seen situations where perhaps people have not been advised of those risks.
Sure.
And so that's really where I think our value comes into play, where this sounds great. The house looks great visually. Yeah, they've got brand new countertops. They've got new backsplash. They've got this, that, and the other. But we know there is so much more than that, so many more hurdles.
Sure.
And so just knowing those risks is really important.
Yeah, and then, I come with a little bit of extra different set of skills from having a Class A license on the other. But I tell you what we're seeing now is no more waiving, but we're starting to see a lot of what we call pass and fails, right? So let's talk a little bit about what a pass and fail home inspection looks like.
Right. So pass fail is going to be something where it's essentially the purchaser's sole discretion whether or not they move forward based on the home inspection, but it's a pass fail basis. So they're saying they're not going to ask for repairs. However, we all know that's not always the case. People still do come forward and ask for repairs. So for me, it's a little bit of it doesn't carry the same weight, I don't think, as obviously a waiving of a home inspection contingency. But I do think most buyers stick to it. I would say for the most part. I mean, what would you say? Maybe 70%?
So it's an interesting proposition because if you waive it, you still have, if it's a pass or fail, you still do the home inspection. But what happens if there is what you just explained? Termite, right? You can get out of it. But let's say it's something a little bit of the M word, which we're not allowed to talk about, right? Mold.
Oh, right.
Mold, right?
And if there is mold,
you need to fix it.
who do you call?
Oh, Interstate Pesties.
Interstate Service Company, a home's best friend, one of the partners here of Real Talk.
Thank you,
right.
sir.
And they're watching the program.
They are great. They really are.
They solved the problem.
And previously lived in Lake Monticello.
Absolutely.
The family.
They do. They're wonderful Fulvanaites.
That's right.
But the point I was trying to make is that you can go back and say, look, time out. This is a health and safety thing. I need you to fix this.
Right.
Otherwise, we're not going to proceed. And 9 times out of 10, if I'm the listing agent, the seller is going to say who to fix it. I'm going to say call Interstate. Interstate's going to come in and fix it, and we're going to close.
Right.
Because most sellers don't want to convey something that's unhealthy.
Right, exactly. And most buyers want it cleaned up. So that's an issue people are going to continue to run into unless they find that 15% buyer out there, that less likely buyer, that smaller buyer pool who's going to forgive it. But that's not that common.
Let's get to comments from agents. Sarah Hill Buchensky, welcome to the program. Ray Cadell, for you.
Hey, Ray.
I generally, if I'm expecting multiple offers on a property my folks are interested in, take my trusted inspector in with me on showing number 2 and spend an hour or so there with him and my clients. Only then will I waive an inspection completely.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go.
We do exactly the same thing.
Interesting. So you bring an inspector. Okay, well, can I ask a question? So you bring an inspector in on the second showing prior to submitting the offer.
Yep,
Okay.
he says, and Ray, offer some follow-up feedback on this. He says that's what he's doing.
Yeah, sure.
Interesting. Okay.
We because of these multiple offers, sometimes we bring the inspector in on the first showing. There's something that they really like. It's raised up to the top. They've done their homework via the internet, right? That's what this iPhone is great for, is to do your homework on it.
Absolutely.
And if we know that this is going to be a hotly contested property, and our client says, "I want to waive it," I'm going to say, you know what? Here's my trusted advisor. For such a fee, he'll come in with us, and it's not an official home inspection, but he'll do an eyeball or she'll do an eyeball on that, and then he's making the advice to the purchaser, not us.
So who's covering the cost of the inspector's time?
The buyer.
Okay.
The buyer's
The
doing
buyer's doing it.
Always.
Yeah.
The buyer.
And is that a full inspection that's happening?
No.
So that's an abbreviated cost. Is that right?
Yeah, it's an abbreviated course. The inspectors that we work with will do it at a reduced price as just the cost of doing business with us. But yeah, that's what happens. So basically, as we're walking through the house, he's doing his thing, half an hour, 45 minutes, hour, whatever it is, home, look at it.
Smart.
And then we meet.
That's a very good idea to do that. I was trying to think about why you couldn't do that. But no, I can see, why not?
For me in particular, it's a kind of an awkward situation because, I built so many homes, I can do that, but I have to step away from that.
Sure.
And I have to bring somebody else who's licensed to do that.
You were so helpful for me on another one. Oh, we didn't waive it. Can you believe this? The house looked immaculately kept, and multiple offers. They didn't waive it, thank God. The porch was falling down. Not only was the porch falling down, the siding was failing. Remember, I called you on this, and you were so helpful for me. That was really, really, the front porch issue was a big one, and it was great.
How did that ever turn out? Did you ever get the closing on it?
We got $70,000 worth of a credit.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll take 10%.
Me too.
Sarah Buchensky for Ray, Keith, and Maggie. So I love what's happening here. Sarah's asking a question to Ray, you, and Maggie.
Cool.
On different Facebook pages, the conversations are happening. So Sarah says, and Ray, Maggie, and Keith, do you ask sellers permission to bring the inspector to the property?
I don't. It's just...
That was my question, and I don't see why you would have to, actually.
X-ray, I know we don't. We're bringing...
Right. I mean, people open up doors, they look in crawl spaces, they do their own, due diligence, like prior to submitting an offer anyways. Why can't you have your pal come through?
It's a great question. I've never been told that we had to. So,
Yeah.
But I don't know. Ray might
Let's
be
not
able
ask. Let's stop talking about it.
Ray just responded, my guy will do it at a greatly reduced price if he doesn't have to provide a report.
Sure.
I do not believe I need to
I
ask
agree.
permission of the seller.
Right.
Ray Cadell.
Okay,
agree.
Ray, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, so answer that question.
Yeah.
Look at that. We're providing trust.
Source of the source.
Source of the source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ray, for sharing. So any other questions on that before we jump around a little
Not
bit?
right now.
Okay, great. So I just took a look. So we kind of want to focus a little bit on the lake today.
Yeah.
Obviously, let's see, I just took a look at the last 60 days. We only have 14 homes on the market.
So low. It's incredible.
Tell me how you feel about that.
I mean, it's exciting because I'm bringing on 2 new listings this week.
Ooh.
So,
Very nice.
two little cute ranchers in the low 200s, just to everybody that's out there.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Look at
they're
her.
right around the corner from
She's
each other.
great. I see why she's good at her job.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. So they're really cute. So yeah, the lake. I mean, it's super low inventory. We need. I think we talked about this last time. We need almost not 100, but 90 homes or so to feed a healthy market at the
Sure.
lake. So 14 homes clearly is not going to feed a healthy market. Fall is a strong time for buyers and sellers. So I mean, I would imagine those 14 homes will probably be sold.
There's what, roughly 4,200 rooftops at the lake?
43 and change.
4,300
4,300
little bit
rooftops?
more.
So, and
Yeah.
we're talking 14 active listings?
Yeah.
Right.
Good
exactly.
night. I mean, that is low. What is that, half a percentage point? That is quick math. That's 0.4 of a percentage
that's
point.
exactly right.
Let me see if my math checks out. I'm pretty good at that math. 0.004.
Well, I'll talk while you're doing it.
Yeah, I was right.
I wasn't doubting it at all.
I know you weren't.
Pending's at 33, and in 60 days we sold 63 homes, roughly 5 days on market, and the median sales price was $275.
Super. That's great.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
Well, we need more, and that's kind of what I wanted to dovetail a little bit into. There's a lot of new construction happening around Lake
is.
Monticello.
There is.
Inside the lake, not so much, right? Because we have, and we'll talk about that first.
Oh, you mean, okay, yeah.
Right, so inside the gates of Lake Monticello, or the subdivision itself, which is 4,500 lots, there's not a lot of new construction. There's an uptick that it used to be.
Right.
I remember back in the day there was 300, 400, 500 new building permits just at Lake Monticello issued a year. But there isn't that much new construction going on the lake. It's all around the periphery of it. So
Right.
I just wanted to kind of tackle that a little bit if you had any thoughts, and I've got some stats that we can talk about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is in terms of development, that is happening immediately around the lake. I will say, though, in the lake right now, there still is new construction happening. Liberty, believe this or not,
Yep.
Liberty, just in my little 3 streets in my little area where I run, 3 homes he's building.
So it's funny you should say that. Our chemistry is working.
Right.
And didn't even talk about this. Year to date, they sold 21 Liberty Homes in Lake Monticello. Sold 21 units.
Incredible. I mean, they just are crushing it, really. He sells hundreds of houses a year, I believe, actually.
He does, and he.
What's the background of Liberty Homes?
Liberty Homes is owned by a gentleman by the name of Sean Tuttle out of Richmond.
Right.
It's a Richmond-based organization.
He's got a model home at the corner of 250 and Black Cat Road.
That's right. Susan Stewart with Roy Wheeler is the representing agent for them in this.
And she parks, she posts up in that model at Black Cat and 250?
I think she does.
Several agents do. Tracy McFarland does. Susan does. And I don't know. He works with several brokerages and several agents that park over there. And
That model's a
work
little
with
bit
me.
unusual, right?
It is unusual.
Why do
It
you
is
say that?
unusual.
Because normally it's one brokerage. They don't,
Right.
So what he'll do is
got it.
he'll use different brokerages even within one jurisdiction.
Right.
It's more project specific or regional, more regional. But their median sales price was $224,500.
They meet a need, they meet a need for
Absolutely.
for Fluvanna County, for Central
everywhere.
Virginia,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's, well, never mind.
Oh, finish that thought.
No, I will get myself in trouble.
Okay.
He knows what I'm thinking.
Time out. There's nobody better than me that gets himself in trouble. So I would
Yeah.
love a little relief. So you can go ahead and
I always got to stick something in there.
You were choosing your words carefully right there.
Yeah, I
I
was.
could tell.
I did that for the first time last week. Really walk something.
Good job,
back.
Smith.
I know.
Good job,
I'm learning. It's only 200 and some odd shows. I'm learning. But so I just thought that was interesting. That I think as far as the Lake Monticello new construction market goes, they're pretty much going to plateau here really
Right.
quickly.
Right.
Why? Because not enough dirt?
There's no dirt left.
Yeah.
And the lots that are left, I mean, there have been some decent lots that come, but they're rare, very
Yes.
rare.
Yeah. So Liberty did a really good
They'll
job.
buy all of the lots.
That's exactly right. They did a really good job about 2 years ago and started on a buying spree.
Right.
Buying up.
I sold him two of my own.
There you go. Well, that's
You
exactly.
own
Yeah,
the lots?
I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I did.
But you couldn't turn it down.
No, well, no. No, never mind. See, I need to just shove it back in.
Well, so this guy's got some vision. He bought the dirt 2 years ago.
He did. Yeah.
He has. He is in a. Very good. I will say he knows how to work the penny.
Got it. He's a businessman.
He is
He's
a
a
businessman through and through.
Well,
Got it.
he's providing.
It's
That
224 single-family detached in Central Virginia.
Well-
I mean, that sells all day, every day.
about 1,500 square feet is the
Yeah.
average
Right.
size on that. So they're not too big. They're not too small either.
Sure.
And somebody should tag Susan Stewart or
right.
or
Tracy.
Roy Wheeler or any of those folks out there
Yeah.
that we're talking a little bit about them.
They're experts on their product. But call us first, actually, and then we'll contact them for you.
Well, that kind of pivots into why you would want
Even
to,
more so with new construction, you want representation.
So tell me why.
Absolutely. I mean, my goodness. Well, I think oftentimes, especially when purchasers are going to build, they have a trust level right there with the sales representative. And while I'm sure they are trustworthy and wonderful people, they represent the builder after
Very
all.
good.
So their priority is to the builder, not to that purchaser. And so, of course, come on, that's who they work for. That's where they put food on the table. So,
And the commission's baked into the deal.
right, you're not.
So you don't have to feel guilty.
Don't have to feel you.
learned that.
You will not pay any less. And if you do, tell me if they tell you that, because I'm going to call them.
Right.
But if
Well, it's in the listings,
right.
It's so
They offer this compensation. And so it's important for these builders, especially the smart ones, to understand the value of what a realtor brings to the table. What a realtor brings to the table. Christy Lynn, she's not here today. When I said it to her one time, she was like, gosh, I just thought you were being, I'm like, no, that's how you say realtor. But anyway, so.
real estate professional.
Yeah,
Keep
that's
myself
right.
out of trouble.
Bingo. But we do, especially with new construction. I've got on a tangent. I've already forgot what I was talking about.
So what we're talking about is why you need a trusted advisor, why
Right.
you need a real estate. I mean, we painted the obvious. The obvious is you're paying for it anyway.
Right.
So have the representation.
Right.
You also painted the other obvious is that at the end of the day, the agent sitting in that home, let's say, if you're looking at a Ryan home that's going into Island Hill, Fluvanna
Right.
County, which we'll talk about here in a minute,
Right.
they work for the builder. They do not work
Absolutely.
for you.
Absolutely.
They're wonderful people. They're very efficient. They know what they're doing. But at the end of the day, their fiduciary responsibility is not to you. Their fiduciary responsibility is to their employer.
How about this question from
Absolutely.
Grayson? How many of the representatives in the model homes are licensed realtors?
Great question.
It is unusual for them to be. With Liberty, that is very unusual model for him to be actually, excuse me, having a licensed realtor represent the builder in that circumstance. Almost always Ryan Homes.
Stanley.
Stanley is not. Stanley are all licensed real
So
estate.
they're licensed realtors?
Wait a second. So
Really?
Oh, right.
Yes, of course. Stanley Martin.
Oak Hill and Woodington, they're licensed
They're
realtors?
all
there?
licensed. They're with Nest Real Estate. Nest Realty.
I did not
They are.
realize that.
Ryan, I don't know.
No, they're not. Definitely not.
But I can tell you what Stanley Martin they are.
Because if you look at the card on a lot of them, it's sales and marketing, where they're double dipping two different positions.
It's very simple. Just look at the listing and it'll tell you.
state it.
It'll tell you who it is. Ryan does it a little different.
Right.
Right. But in they are licensed real estate agents.
Sarah
Same-
Helbuchinsky.
Same thing. Excuse
Stanley
me.
Martin has licensed agents.
Same thing. Same thing with
Yeah,
Craig.
okay.
Craig is also licensed agents?
Why am I not? Why is that not dawning on me? So
No, it's okay.
so there you go. There you go. They are then more than I was going to say.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for them to be licensed real estate agents. And the reason being is they want to have access to the data that we have access to. Right? Right now, builders don't have a special access to the MLS that we have, so they must be real estate agents, or they must have a real estate agent connected with them that can go ahead and dig up that particular information.
Right.
This one from Kevin Higgins for Maggie. What are your thoughts on Buckingham County? Tons of cheaper dirt there. Any potential there from a real estate standpoint?
I mean, I think buying real estate long term, no matter where you buy, is a good investment. Personally, I mean, it depends on what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to do, your funds, what your budget looks like, what your goals are. I mean, it really just depends on it. I mean, I think it would really depend on the area of Buckingham, and how long you want to hold the property, and if this is a short-term thing or a long-term thing.
So from our perspective, the part of Buckingham that's picking up a little bit in phone calls for us.
It's the Scottsville side?
That's
Right.
exactly
Buckingham.
right. That's
Just
exactly
a proximity to amenities.
That's exactly right.
It's close, and then also the southern end, which I don't go to, but that's near, is it Lynch? It's not Lynchburg. It's
So I've got a Yankee accent. They don't let me much further south than that. They really don't. They say, yeah, you need to go back.
It's that other town on the southern end. They're busy down there too because it's Farmville. That's right, Farmville. Of course. They've
Great
got,
place to buy furniture, by the way.
Absolutely, and they've got a university there, so they've got jobs down there. So that would be another area to consider.
It's interesting because we're also receiving a lot of information about the Amelia County, Lynchburg, kind of that that kind of area down that way.
Right.
Also seeing those agents coming into our marketplace.
Oh my goodness, we were talking about this the other day about you and I don't know if you remember the conversation. We were talking about Northern Virginia agents coming down into our market. And
I remember it.
That when you said that, it was just all of a sudden, I feel like that's all who's been calling me lately. And it's, we are all state licensed, but I will say it is, again, talking about having a realtor, having somebody that is an expert in your area. You are paying the same, and I would suggest hiring an expert in your area.
I would agree with that 1,000%.
Yes.
So I ran.
Unless you're the buyer on my listing, hire that outside agent.
There you go. I like it. She's aggressive. I like it. I really like it.
I still want my 10%.
I like it. This guy is as well.
New construction, Fluvanna County. Mm-hmm. Not inside of Lake
Susan
Monroe.
Stewart, welcome to the program.
There you go, Susan. We're giving
Yeah, I told her we're giving you props.
There you
Why
go.
don't we give her some props right now that
Yeah.
she's watching?
Hey, girl.
We were given a shout out about the wonderful work you guys are doing with Liberty Homes at Lake
Absolutely.
Monticello and providing that much needed price point
Yes.
of new construction at that price point. So thank you for doing that.
That's right. That's right. They meet a need.
So outside of Lake Monticello, I ran some numbers, new construction, so this is not including Lake Monticello. Year to date, there was 106 units sold. The median sales price was $315. So outside of Lake Monticello, the numbers is considerably up. Interesting, Village Oaks, which is a Ryan subdivision,
Right.
actually was developed by Southern Development right across the street from the main gate.
Right.
Is sold out.
I know. It's unbelievable.
There is nothing available. Interesting. There's only one, according to the MLS, outside of Lake Monticello, there's only one new construction home that is active.
It's
In
really
Fluvanna? That is
unbelievable.
ridiculous.
It really is.
Only one?
That outside of Lake Monticello now.
Sure.
There's only one.
And that's building permits.
No, so this is MLS.
MLS.
So this is
okay,
in the
gotcha.
MLS.
So would building permits be a more accurate indicator? Is the MLS lagging building permits? I guess is the question I'm asking.
That's a really interesting question.
Pending, though, wouldn't it? Most builders, wouldn't they be having it pending, and we would see it pending?
No, I think you're not too far off. So I think what Jerry is saying is that what time you look at these so I can pull a building permit, but I have not put it on.
That's what I'm saying.
In the MLS. Yeah,
That's exactly what I'm
and
saying.
that's not an uncommon thing, right?
Right.
Because what's going to happen is I bought a lot or I bought a series of lots.
You have to go through the process.
I have to go through the process.
Which is a pain in the ass.
In Fluvanna County, not so much.
Oh, it's easy in Fluvanna.
Fluvanna County is very easy to go
Okay,
to.
okay.
Right.
I did not know that.
I should tell a story about Barry Parrish, but he's passed away, so I won't do that. But my first time I showed up to do a building permit in 1987, I showed up with a set of plans, and he looked at me and he goes, "What are those?" He was joking, of course. He was joking, of course.
That's funny.
He was joking, of course. But yeah, what are those? We usually get them on a napkin. What are those things? Great man. I miss him dearly. He was a really good, just an outstanding individual. Good man. So we're looking at Village Oaks, Island Hill, which is a new subdivision, which is Ryan, which is over by Broken Islands. For those who are not familiar with the Lake Monticello area, it's over by where the CVS is, our one lovely traffic light.
Right.
It's up over that way.
It's a great spot. I wonder how Broken Island feels.
Well, I believe through the site plan process up there was a bit contentious.
I would believe it. I sold the house adjacent to that development not too long ago.
Here's a good tidbit from Susan Stewart. Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah, tell us.
Susan Stewart, we have a bunch of new lots and subdivisions in Fluvanna that aren't even in the MLS right now.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
They are not in the MLS, she says. Call for details.
So that's a common thing, right? They'll start collecting their lots, right, and then they'll start releasing lots and home packages out there. Because look, they need to temper the market just like everybody else, right? They don't want to overpromise, right? So in other words,
Or let's cut to the chase from a business standpoint. If you trickle these out in small amounts, that's going to drive more demand than if you throw them all out at the same time.
And he owns a lot of the
yes and no.
lots.
That is surely a business way of looking at it, but the other way to look at it is you don't want to overcommit and you can't build them.
Well, sure, you don't want to pinch your supply chain, but at the same time, why not trickle them out 1, 2, or 3 at a time and get multiple offers, and then trickle out 1, 2, 3 or more?
I will bet you it's the second one over the first one.
The supply chain pinch?
Absolutely.
Susan, give us some insight on that. Is
Yeah,
it supply chain
pinch? I would guarantee you that's what it is.
Okay.
But Susan will chime in on that. But what I found interesting about Island Hill, very different to what Liberty, I mean, I just pulled a couple of pendings that are going out there. I'll leave the addresses out of it, but they're ranging between $390,000 and $550,000.
I can't. Whoa. Wait.
There's one that's under pending, $543,800.
Wow.
I didn't represent them. Sorry.
Why?
That is a lot of
got a third of
money.
an
Why
acre.
were you shocked by that?
I mean, you're telling me someone is paying $540 something for what size lots are they?
Third of an acre.
New construction,
New construction.
Okay.
an indication of cost of goods and supply chains being pinched.
I mean,
But still, a 5 on a third.
On a third, and I mean.
How about
I would have a conversation with them prior to doing that, and then they can decide, and then they choose what they want to do. I'm
Well,
sure they'll
again,
be
this
happy
isn't
at
pending, so
543.
it hasn't closed yet, so we don't know what changes it
Wow.
might
I mean, come
have.
on,
But
that's
it's in the
huge.
MLS. It's in pending. That's the reason I wanted to bring it up.
Huge money for a third of an acre, not with any amenities. I
Whoa,
would
did
say.
you guys see the post over the weekend on the Steve Nicholson house in Belmont?
Wait, is this the one on Hinton?
On Hinton Avenue?
Oh,
Yeah.
I've shared that. I mean, again, that is a humongous number for that street.
Zero.
Am I wrong?
Oh, yes. Zero. The lot size is 0.08.
Right.
No garage.
I mean, no way. I mean, am I allowed to say that? That's crazy.
You're allowed to say that. The asking price
Maybe
for
not.
this. he said.
I told you, I gotta stick it back
I
in.
love this man. He's mischievous.
So Maggie,
Save me, Keith.
so then Maggie, the hint would be me shutting up.
Yeah, no.
That's the hint.
The
When I
asking
shut up-
price is $1.6 million. When Keith Smith, who's a mischievous individual, is not talking
Mischievous.
and trying to reel us
Mischievous.
in, that says something right there.
Let's not talk about somebody else's listing.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
But it was a shocking number.
shocking. Yes.
It's the market.
I mean, but do you
And new
really
construction.
think it's going to go pending? I mean,
It's been on the market 21 plus days, which
Right.
in COVID times and in this market is a long
a
time.
very long time.
So the market
I mean,
will determine
you're right.
Right.
what this is
I'm
worth.
gonna
Of course.
stop.
What this is worth.
Of course.
Again,
And-
call
and-
me.
And the agent who listed it is an absolute pro, so I know that he's
Right.
done
The
this-
builder's wife.
Right.
that has done his
Okay, I'm
homework.
gonna stop.
Yeah.
Homework and all that stuff. Yeah, so, look, we try to stay away from talking about individual, unless it's your listing.
Right.
Just because we don't want to cross any ethics lines and stuff like
Sure.
that. All that stuff. We might go up against it, but we will never cross it.
We can nudge up to it.
Yeah, but I want to get back to Island Hill, and you're a local, right?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean,
would say so.
You've been there
Northern
long.
Virginia, but this is.
You've been
is
there
home now.
Yeah.
You've been long
Absolutely.
enough there to be called a local. I've
I
been
know
here long enough to
everybody,
call
so-
a local.
You know everybody.
And it's interesting. It's just that number. I mean, God bless them. I hope it works. I hope it appraises. I hope it all goes through
absolutely.
all the process. I'm sure that it will.
Right.
What I'm trying to wrap this around is, that's just, not too many people can afford that price point. So where is the rest of the new construction going to go that's at that price point? Liberty's about to release some new construction. Lots of great information, Susan. That clearly will be at the more cost-effective price point, for lack of a better term. But we've got a lot of conversation going on around the lake, right? About
Right.
some new projects coming up. One of them I know rather well, which was Colonial Circle, and we'll talk a little bit about that.
Exciting.
But as a local and somebody who's a professional, how do you feel about this discussion with new construction coming around?
I mean,
new
I
projects?
think it's great. I love to see planned growth, thoughtful planned growth. I'd love to see more of that in Fluvanna County, especially businesses. I'd love to see more restaurants, more businesses, more people. I think it's great. I know, of course, there's concerns with schools and
Chris Fairchild's concerns. He sat
Right.
in this chair here. He was very trepid.
I love Connie.
Fluvanna Board of Supervisors
Yep.
candidate, very trepid on the growth.
He is.
I think I'd push back a little bit and just say, come on. I mean, the thing is with Fluvanna County and Louisa County, as we talk, I remember this. You guys are, you have a lot of guests on here, but one of our conversations we had the last time was there's no land in Charlottesville. There's no land in Albemarle County really to be building these subdivisions. I mean, there's limited land, and so inevitably there is going to be a push into Fluvanna County, into Louisa County, into Buckingham County, into all of these adjacent communities.
Well, it's happening.
It has to happen.
It has to happen. We have to be able to.
Apparently, it is at $543,800.
How about this
Right.
from Jonathan, Maggie, and Keith? How's that price tag going to impact the rest of Fluvanna? How's it going to impact taxes and comps on the market?
So I'm looking at that particular listing, and it's a single-family, single-level home. And if I was a betting man, it's probably somebody my age
Right.
and up.
Right.
It's probably a retiree that's moving out of Northern Virginia.
Super custom.
Not particularly, no. I mean,
Not super custom.
No, it seems to be pretty. It's got a lot of
It's gotta have a lot of-
upgrades.
have a lot of
It's got a lot of
upgrades with that.
upgrades.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of upgrades in it.
Right.
But it's not custom. It's not, hey, I want to change this window or change that window. But it may have like their top of the line
The crown
appliances.
molding, the appliances,
That's
the
exactly
nice
right.
tile, the
So
backsplash.
that
Ryan's top end.
yeah. So I would suspect when this is all closed and done so many months down the road, I'll bet you we'll see that was a cash transaction.
Well, and I think you nailed it on the head. It's highly likely, if I were to bet, it's Northern Virginia buyer, where
Yep.
542 or 3 is nothing.
Right.
They just sold their place for 800
Or more.
and somebody's tearing it down to go build something else in Arlington or whatever they're doing. So yeah, I mean, it's Northern Virginia buyers. In fact, that's who bought the house at 1 North Bearwood, was a Northern Virginia buyer, where it was just they've already tore out stuff and are remodeling that property.
The one you and I talked about that we just recently had listed was the same thing.
Right.
Was out of a Northern Virginia buyer.
I mean, I tell the story on the show all the time. The neighbors, our neighbors, sell a townhome in Northern Virginia that's 1,400 square feet for $1.2 million. Come down here and buy a 5,000 square foot home for 800 and change, and have this massive delta where they're just like
Right.
Scrooge McDucking and gold coins.
Right.
Which is happening constantly. Susan has you like that right there.
The Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, did you like that?
I had that whole visual. It was pretty exciting, actually.
I like when you smile. You said, Susan for Maggie and
Our
Keith.
chemistry is working, so
Well,
you
this
knew what
show
I was
is great.
thinking. You knew what I was
You
thinking.
can tell the show is hopping right now. She brings great value to the program. The
Thank
coffee is
you.
kicking in.
I need coffee.
Yeah, do you have coffee in that?
Water.
I said water?
I'm
Okay.
being good. I'm getting coffee
This
after
may
this.
be rum, too.
That is not rum. That is coffee. It would be. We have rum over there. Susan Stewart for you guys. We are always looking for new lots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We cannot keep up with production right now with prices fluctuating every day. Still with COVID, we cannot release too much. We are
Right.
still having difficulty with items being in stock, lead times, etc. If we released all our inventory at once, it would sell out and we would be more than a year to build a home, and who knows what prices would look like for Liberty.
So it was a second thing.
It was a supply chain.
I've been around the block on the building side, been through supply crunches before. So, that if I was Liberty, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to taper. And by the way, all the other builders are doing it. They're tapering their releases into the marketplace, which is not helping with prices, by the way, because by that fact, it increases the prices a little bit on that end.
100%. And she says, and let's emphasize the fact that taxes in Northern Virginia versus here are very different.
Right. Absolutely.
So in Ryan's favor, we just talked about the 500 and plus unit, but over in Village Oaks across the way, their single family detaches were in the low threes, right? Which
when it launched.
No, I'm just looking at the pendings right now. The recent pendings, they're low to mid threes,
right,
in that particular range, which is more affordable clearly than.
Remember when that was an impossible price point in Fluvanna County and you could never sell anything in the low threes? I mean, it's amazing that that's becoming the average.
I remember when I brought the acres on in 97 and I was selling lots for 40, 50 grand, and you could buy lots in Lake Monticello for 4 or 5 grand. Everybody thought I was nuts. They still do, but for very different reasons.
No, it's amazing, these prices that we're seeing just for lots.
So that's the reason why Village Oaks cleared out. They had almost 50 or 60 transactions this year. That's a huge number.
Mega.
From a builder's perspective, to produce and turn around almost 60 units in not even 12 months. What is this, the 10th month?
Right.
The 10th
What's their
month.
stock at?
Good question. Questions coming in from Mustache Dan Pettit of Real Estate 3. Maggie and Keith, where do you see tax rates going in Fluvanna County?
Ooh.
Also, Daniel Pettit's got a question for Susan Stewart. How many lots left at Lake Monticello?
Well,
So tax rate in Fluvanna and lots left in Lake Monticello.
The tax rate went down a hair recently. I think we're at 0.88, are we not? I think I look it up every single time. It goes in and goes out.
Yeah. So it did reduce.
It did reduce.
What will?
I think it was.
Let's tackle the lot question first. Lake Monticello, if there's 100 decent lots left, that's a lot.
Right.
Well, you don't think there's 100.
There
out of
are.
40,
100 decent, that buildable?
Yeah.
I think we have
Yeah,
a little
I would
over.
think so.
I think there's 5,200, a little over 5,000 lots. Am I wrong?
It's 4,500.
Total.
Total's 4,500. We're at 43.
something.
And you have 4,300 plus rooftops.
Roughly. I would say, there's 100 lots, some that are really easy to build on, some not so much.
Yeah.
And that's why they haven't sold.
They just haven't come to the market yet.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
It's a mix.
Most, believe it or not, I would suspect most of those lots, we talked about this about Lake Monticello last time, way back when people would just buy a lot for $5,000 or $6,000 or $10,000 or $20,000.
Because they were speculating?
No, just to be members.
Ah, got it.
Right.
Just to be members, so they could be members of Lake Monticello. They could
Because you have to live in the neighborhood to be a member?
You have to own
You
a
have
lot.
to own. Got
Right.
it.
The way HOAs always work, it has nothing to do with the structure. It has everything to do with the dirt.
The dirt, right?
Because it's
Not all clubs are like that, though.
No, some of them will have. I remember in Glenmore way back when.
That is the case.
You would have to pay like a club membership.
An initiation fee.
Initiation.
And then monthly dues.
But as far as HOA goes, it always goes with the dirt.
Got
Always
it.
goes with the dirt. So we I would say about 100. What was the other part of the question?
Tax rate in Fluvanna.
Yeah, thank you. You want to tackle that?
Well, they went down a hair, and I would hope that they're not going to go much more than where they're at, because that just in terms of desirability, when people are considering Fluvanna County, comparing it to other counties. I mean, when our tax rate is equivalent to Albemarle County and very
Lord.
near Charlottesville in the city, we don't have the same level of county amenities and parks and recreation and things like that Albemarle County offers. And so I think that is a little bit, there should be some sort of correlation to where your tax, and that's the problem with, I love Connie and Chris, everybody. That I do think that is a problem, though, when we don't have the ability to have vision for our community in terms of planned growth and the value added of these new communities.
Well, we're supposed to be redoing our comprehensive plan. That's when that should happen. We should be doing that this year because we're in our 5th year. So that's where the public can get involved to talk about their vision on that end of it.
It would be great. I mean, it would be great if we could bring a little bit more of building up the community, the county, in terms of planned growth, and have good vision for it, and try and bring in businesses that can help offset real estate taxes and all of that. Unfortunately, I do think Fluvanna County has had a little bit of a reputation in terms of not necessarily, again, stick it back in, but, a reputation a little bit of kind of anti-growth.
Well, that is true.
Right.
Absolutely.
Forever.
Well,
for decades.
But that's changed substantially. And
It's had to.
Well, and Chris Fairchild's a personal dear friend of mine, love him to death. And we see eye to eye on most things, and some things we don't. We just have an honest conversation, and we just walk away from it, still being best of friends. I love a conversation with him. But this feed just tapped into, is Mrs. Smith watching?
Yes.
Just tapped into a conversation.
You got a lot of firms watching.
Yona and I had this morning. And when we talk tax rate, my hair stands up on my back. Because tax rate is only one portion of the formula that goes through. So for those who for clarification, tax rate is the cents, the amount per 100 of the appraised or tax assessed value. Not appraised value, but tax assessed value.
Right.
And this is a balancing game, right?
A lot of people don't know that.
This is a balancing game. So we're about ready to start the crazy budget season in the governments. It starts around October, November, into that. And what happens is the government or the local jurisdiction sets a budget, whatever that might be. It's $1. Then they turn and look at what their value of their tax assessed land is, and then they set the rate to that. That's where that rate starts going up and down. I can tell you by looking at these transactions, if they follow what's going on, the assessed values are going to go up. If the budget stays neutral, which it probably won't, but
they still get more money.
No, the rate though goes down.
Yeah, because the assessed values are going up.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And then what I always look at this is how much cash am I paying?
Right. At that rate.
Last year I was paying X dollars. What am I paying this year?
Right. So it's absolutely. So your average house in Fluvanna County for taxes, even though your tax rate is the same as Albemarle County, you're still going to be paying significantly
So you
less.
Take your home or my home and pick it up and drop it into Albemarle County, it's worth $100 to $150,000 more than it is now.
More than that.
And so if we're at the same tax rate, we're paying more dollars into it.
Maggie Gunnell's getting some props on the feed right now. And Maggie, you're getting love from Eliza, is it Pister?
Oh, my cousin, Eliza Peister.
Peister. Where's she watching?
She's a Charlottesville legend.
Oh, a Charlottesville legend.
Absolutely.
Eliza
She is a true local through and through. Absolutely. Her parents owned Blue Ridge. Our cousins own Blue Ridge Graphics.
On High Street.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yes. Her father, Greg, is amazing.
That's been around for like forever.
Forever.
Good for you.
My Uncle John and Greg started that. Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. I learned something
Absolutely.
today.
She says, love listening to Maggie Gunnell's on this program.
Good. You got to be there on Halloween, Eliza. I better see you with Chloe. I miss you.
So this question's coming in from Brian. Brian says, it sounds like Charlottesville and Albemarle County's lack of supply is driving the market in Fluvanna County. Any fear that will slow eventually?
I don't think it's driving Fluvanna County, but I mean, to an extent maybe, but Fluvanna County holds its own. I mean, people go to Fluvanna County that aren't necessarily seeking Albemarle. It's not necessarily like a leftover, option. Right?
So historically, Lake Monticello was created in 1968, 1969. Its original intent was a vacation community for Northern Virginia.
Right.
And then it migrated over the years into pretty much in the mid-'80s, where it became a retirement community for folks that have funny accents like me, right? And they went ahead and did that. And then back in the 2000s, it became more of a bedroom community from the surrounding area. So it's a very unique mixture of buyers, of owners in that. I would say it's easily broken into thirds. So some people that still have it as vacation homes, because let's face it, you've got an awesome golf course, you got an awesome lake with 5 beaches, there's just so much to do. I took my bike ride, 25-mile bike ride yesterday around the lake. It was just awesome to see people on the lake water skiing in October. Right? Who knew?
Yeah.
On that end of it, and then you have a pretty large swath of retirees, and then you have the let's say the folks that are traveling to work back and forth. So it's not 4,500 or 4,300 folks of all working class folks coming in and out of Charlottesville.
Definitely a mix. It used to be, primarily retirees from New York and New Jersey, and then it really has changed demographically.
You actually let people from Jersey in?
I do.
Unbelievable.
I do.
How did that happen? I'm sorry, it's a New York Jersey thing. We got to bust each other's chops.
No, that's why I like people from New Jersey and New York. So no, I think the lake is a mixture. I mean, we now have so many young families, and we've been doing the farmers markets on Sunday, and we see so many millennials, and I feel so old. And all these 20-something, aren't they millennials in the 20s? But they're all there at the...
I think they're closer to Z.
They're Gen Zers,
Gen
yeah.
Zers.
Isn't that
Gen
a millennial?
Yeah, that's the one right after. It's close.
That's how much I know.
It's close.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you've got the almost 60-year-old millennial like me.
Right. So. Oh, yes. One of my good girlfriends told me that she's friends with your daughters. And she said, Keith is the best. He was the best dad. You were a favorite. I thought that was so nice.
Well, you know what? It was fun. I woke up every Sunday morning and never knew who was up in the bonus room, but I made pancakes and eggs. And
you put WNRN on?
And what kind of music were we
Bluegrass.
playing? Bluegrass music.
Spent a lot of time with you, Smith.
I'm sorry about that.
This is coming in right now from Dan Pettit's got some good questions. How much higher will the assessments go up in 2 years for you? And will commercial at Zion's Crossroads help lower the taxes? Isn't Zion's Crossroads Louisa? Isn't
No.
that
It's a
Louisa's
mix.
It's a mix?
So-
It was Flavanna.
Well, yeah. So as far as the 2 years from now, Dan, it depends on how they're going to do it, right? So they rotate every other year. They actually bring in an assessor to come in and do that. But
Right,
by and far,
outsider.
they're typically desktop assessments. So Dan, they're going to be looking at a lot of the information that we have. I cannot see how the assessed values will not go up.
Oh, right.
They have to go up. The market is just doing that as we're looking at it. So I would project to go how much, nobody really knows.
I feel like, so I've been on those boards when they select, whoever they're going to hire out for the tax assessments for Flavanna, and it amazes me every time they hire them, because it's only done every couple of years. It's always such a delayed data once it's all done, and which that's what happens when you don't have a full time.
Don't you? I was going to use the word hate, but it's the wrong word.
You're blowing up over there.
So-
They're seeing you on the show right here.
Oh, good.
You're on fire.
So how do you handle the question, well, the tax assessed value is this, but the market value is that?
Or Zillow or Zestimates.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
So how do you handle that question?
I always that's again where our value comes into
Sure.
play. Those intangibles that no algorithm is going to be able to find and understand, that actually we are able to help define that value through the intangibles. I would say that, when people ask me that, it's the same thing as estimates. I mean, I don't look at it. I never, ever look at the Fluvanna County tax assessment when I go in to do my own market analysis for a property, because it's not up-to-date information. So your assessed value is where the county says the value of your property is, and then your market value is what a buyer is likely willing to pay for your property. And those are two completely different values in Fluvanna County. At least they tend to be. It's rare when they're the same. So personally, as an expert in that neighborhood, I don't look at the tax assessment values.
Well, you immediately defer the conversation because that's not the true value.
Not the true value.
And interesting, we're going to probably we'll do a show in the beginning of December to talk about tax assessments, because most folks don't know you can contest those.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's not that difficult.
It is not difficult at all. And they come out in December, and so the way the process will work is they'll do their assessments out, and there is a review board, right? You have a certain period of time to say, hey, I disagree with that. You go in front of the review board. We tend to get at least Yona and I tend to get a ton of phone calls in December. Is my house really worth this amount of money?
Right.
And I go, no. Here's the market data. Bring it in.
Based on
contest
those estimates, right?
Well, no. So what you'll do is you'll get a tax assessment. So
Sure.
prime example, my tax assessment this year was $150,000 higher than what the market value was.
Interesting.
So I went and contested it. I said, look, if you want to write me a check for this, I'd love to take it. My wife and I will go move into Charlottesville. But they went ahead and they lowered it. So it happens. You have to provide the data. You have to do that. And not very many people do.
I did it here for this,
And
for
it
the
worked.
Macklin building,
And it worked, right?
and it was not difficult.
Every year I have to do it because every year their tax assessment of my house is much higher than what it should be, which is not market value. Now, if it's the other way, right? If it's lower,
Leave it alone. Leave well enough alone.
Well, how about this? That's come in from. I'm just going to say Spencer. I'm not going to mispronounce your last name. He says, well, if you're looking to sell, Keith, having the higher assessment's going to be good for you, right?
Not
No,
really
so
like
that's
that.
the conversation Maggie and I were just having. Tax assessment never
As a barometer.
reflects market value.
Especially in Fluvanna County.
It may
I-
match one of these days, but very rarely it happens.
I mean, I feel like the city and Albemarle County is much more accurate on their tax values to Fluvanna. Don't they have full-time assessors?
Well, they do, but
Nick says it does not surprise me that the government doesn't understand or want to understand market value.
Well,
Well-
it's not really having to do with that, though.
I don't
Nick.
think that's the
It's-
case.
It's the fact that they don't have money for a full-time assessor, that they have to come out and hire the tax. It's how do you keep up with the valuations? Who's going to be in charge of making sure that that data is up to date? And you got to pay somebody to do that. So they hire outside companies to come in and do that. Fluvanna County doesn't have, the money to have a full-time person. That's why. It's not necessarily that they don't care or anything like that. It's just the fact that how are you actually going to get accurate data?
So I would never want to disagree with Nick, but in this case I am. It's a lagging.
Sorry, Nick.
It's a lagging indicator, right?
Right.
It's not up to the minute. We just talked about in the last 60 days. For all intents and purposes, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they were tens upon tens of increase in transactions over 60 days ago. When these folks take a look at this in November and December, it's at that snapshot, at that given moment, at
Right.
that given time,
Right.
And then they don't relook at it in some cases for 2 more years.
Right.
Right.
So it's a lagging indicator. It is very much so, depending on where you hit that cycle, you could be just spot on, or you could be 2 years old.
I feel like they always hit it at a high or a low. Over the last decade, it's always been the opposite. But I mean, how do you time that? I mean,
let's think about numbers, Nick. Right? To do an appraisal is roughly $400, $500.
Right.
There's 10,000 residential units.
I think they pay 40 to 50 to 60. At least this was like 10 years ago. 40 to 50 to 60. To
That's about right.
70.
That's about right.
For the companies to come in and do it.
Versus
Right.
what's 10,000 times 500?
A lot of money.
$500,000.
Yeah. A lot of money.
Right.
I mean, and throw in the fact that it's a 2-year window for each assessment. And you consider what
I
happened
think it's
during
longer. I think it's 40.
Albemarle County. I'm pretty sure it's 2 in Albemarle.
So Fluvanna, it is 2, but
sure.
but they bounce around,
Okay.
right? So it's roughly 2 years. Every 2 years. I think in Albemarle County it's every year, but they alternate districts,
Right.
So forth and so on.
So, and you think about 2 years in a market like COVID, in a market like this with no supply, and how could it possibly keep up?
Yeah, so it's always, when we're making a listing, it's always the conversation or buying. Well, hold it. The assessed is this. We say, we explain the differences, what we just did.
Right.
And what we really need to do is look at our CMA, because you're a pro, and I know you do this. Even if you're buying, you do a CMA on it and say, okay, this is what the market value is. And I know you're also a pro, because we've had this conversation before, that you would say, well, hold it. My market analysis is saying it's $1. You're saying it's $1.50. Tell me how you got there.
Right.
Right. So that's another reason why hiring a trusted advisor and a realtor is important. Anything else on the feed?
Yes, more stuff. Maggie, your prediction for 2022 for Fluvanna County?
Oh, I think it's going to be a great year for sellers and for buyers, because you'll be able to secure long-term debt at low rates. So I think Fluvanna County is going to be strong. Pricing, I mean, right now, we have a lot of people asking about selling now or in the spring, and I mean, now's a great time, but pricing I do think is going to probably stay the same. I know some people are thinking there might be a slight correction. I agree with you, Keith. How? We don't have inventory. We don't have inventory. No one's building. I mean, some people are building, but we need more new construction. There is going...
First of all, stabilization is the right word, I think. They're going to stabilize to a normal year-over-year percentage growth, anywhere between 3 to 6, depending on the year, not this double. But the inventory isn't growing. I mean, look, there's the project Colonial Circle. I know a little bit about it because I'm representing the seller of the land on that project. That project's not quite finished with its site plan process. It should happen actually the end of this month, but it's going to be about 1.5 to 2 years before homes are available to buy there.
Right, exactly.
Because
Bingo.
once you get through that will probably take the rest of this year to get all that process done. Development construction will start sometime in the first quarter of next year, and that's a good year. It's going to take about a year to do that before lots are ready, before the builder can build, and before stuff can go vertical, and before we can sell. So we're about 1.5 years out. And that's a project that went through 6 years. We're on year number 6 of the rezoning site plan process. So it's going to be roughly 7 to 8 years from the time it started before homes are available to buy. So what's going to happen in that gap time? And these other projects that are being discussed around the lake are not even into the beginning their rezoning process.
Right.
So they'll go through that same time period also.
Yeah, there is a real need for new listings and for development, but it's where and how long is that going to take? So I think prices are going to stay the same in Fluvanna County and the lake.
So do you think 2022 could be the best year yet for the Gunnels Group?
Oh, of course it's going to be. 100%.
He knew the answer to that.
And I knew what she was going to say. I mean, we all would say the same thing, and it's because we bet on ourselves. And we bet on ourselves to perform, and she's extremely well connected and excellent at her job. And on top of that, let's cut to the chase. With the key performance indicators in this market, there's not enough supply. Everybody wants to move here. UVA is hiring more people. They're admitting more students to the University of Virginia. It's not going to slow down.
It's an awesome place to live.
It's an awesome place. That's why we live here.
Absolutely. Quality of life is off the charts.
Quality of life is off the charts. We're getting more national press about the best place to live, the best place to vacation on the East Coast. I mean, if it continues like this, you know what I'm saying, Keith?
Well, this, the whole second place to retire, right? It says Charlottesville, but it's really the region, right? And we've talked about these numbers. My last recent sales, the one we worked together on, the one we just did, on that end of it, these are folks relocating from Northern Virginia down to our area to do it. Couple pivots here. Zions Crossroads.
Oh, right.
What do you think about Zions Crossroads?
Somebody told me, and this is probably wrong, but like 50,000 people or some crazy number of people drive through there every single day.
It's a huge number.
I mean, a huge number of traffic. There is nothing between Richmond and 81, essentially, because there's really not that many great spots, I don't think, off an easy, you got to go up Pantops. In Charlottesville, there's not that great, pit stops. So Zion Crossroads is a great pit stop between Richmond and 81. And so, I mean, in terms of people that are going to Richmond, Charlottesville for working, I definitely think Zion Crossroads has nothing but potential. And I think people have known that for years. It's just, it's going to be people that are going to come in here and develop it and have vision for it. I hope they do something great with it. It's an opportunity to do something nice.
So I'm excited to say that Louisa County and Fluvanna County, because it's part of the Planning District Commission, which I'm a member of, are working on what they call a small area plan, right? And what they're doing is they're collectively working because they've realized, this us and them thing that's been going on for quite some time is not in everybody's best interest.
Definitely.
So I'm excited about the Zions Crossroads. I think that is going to be the engine to develop as far as businesses go and to raise this number. And if Neil Williams is watching, he'll correct me. But I think, if I remember the number correctly, it's somewhere between 94 to 96% of our tax base is on residential. which is a pretty unhealthy number.
Right. It's always been that way.
Well, it's because you don't have the commercial to support anything else.
We don't
they
have
don't allow
the water. Well, I think in fairness,
extent.
maybe 20 years ago,
More
15
so.
years ago, it is not. They would have, they meaning the Fluvanna County Board of
Hindsight's
Super.
2020.
Well, they would have not have.
Walmart.
Or
Lowe's.
water. Start with the water.
And so we give props to Fitzgerald Barnes.
Yep, without doubt, he was a big
Props
part
to
of.
Fitzgerald Barnes on making that happen.
So
Who's that? Is
He's
that
Board of Supervisors, Louisa County.
okay? All right.
And one of the key components, correct me if I'm wrong, of making Zion's Crossroads what it is today.
he was very active in it.
great.
Yeah.
And he's a fellow Marine, so we love him.
And Johnny Ornelas just posted it. Of course, Zion's has the best Mexican restaurant of all, El Mariachi.
In the whole country.
In the whole country, Johnny Ornelas.
Oh,
we
by
love
the way,
you.
Johnny.
Johnny, we love you, Johnny Ornelas.
Happy birthday, Johnny.
Yeah, happy birthday, J.O. You have a beautiful family. I saw the Sunday morning photo of you and the family in bed, chilling, watching some TV, man. You have a beautiful family. Happy birthday.
Emily Funk's birthday is today.
Oh, happy birthday, Emily Funk. Is she
take-
going to be at our 145 meeting?
We're going to go for lunch first, then come.
Are
to-
we still doing the 145?
We'll talk about that.
It looks like you're changing the schedule on the fly over here, Keith.
Depends
Emily,
on how lunch goes.
Emily Ann Coulter, the fantastic mortgage broker.
Yep.
I surely hope we see more inventory in 2022.
Yes.
I have way too many pre-approved buyers who have really struggled to find homes this year.
Right. And people that have given up, people that can't make moves because they're so nervous about what they're going to buy. They want to move to a larger house, and they're having a hard time finding that too. Yeah, there's a lot of
So
people.
ask Ann a question for me. If rates go up around 4%,
Emily Ann Coulter
do you think, Emily, I apologize. Do you think,
Atlantic Bank.
yep, do you think that will open inventory a little bit?
So, in a succinct, if rates go up, Emily, are we going to have more supply and potentially less buyers?
From her perspective.
From your perspective, if you could put that in the feed, we will relay it on air. Let's welcome some new friends that are in the game to the program. Dude, you guys have a lot of freaking agents watching this program right now.
Yay.
Rachel Foster, hello.
Rachel is dynamite.
A rock star.
Rock star. She's dynamite.
Rachel Foster, que pasa? Offer some perspective, Rachel Foster. Abby Bellamy giving you props.
Abby, she's my niece. She's amazing. I love her.
Kurt Geldner.
Hi, Kurt. Client. Love you.
Alice Scott.
Yay, Alice. She's
Watching the
Logan
program.
Foster.
Ness Realty, Logan Foster, Yes Realty Partners, the Mackie Gunnels Group, Real Estate 3, Keller Williams, Avenue, and Remax, all on the feed literally as
Love
we
it.
speak.
Isn't that great? That's so great. That's what's so great about our realtor community is we are very, I feel like, supportive of each other.
Rising tide is good for all ships.
Absolutely.
And what we're trying to do on the show here, and particularly on today's show, is to kind of get this conversation.
And it really happens on Monday.
It happens on Monday.
Yeah, the Monday Market Monitor.
Monday's the show that really engages that. But a lot of it has to do when you have somebody awesome like that.
Well, yeah,
sitting
you're a
across
popular
the
gal. You're
sitting
well-spoken.
across-
You know your
sitting across.
business.
Thank you.
And on top of that, Monday, everybody wants to see what happened over the weekend.
That's exactly
and
right.
you guys have a little bit of a catch your breath on Mondays. After grinding
Is
over the
that what
weekend,
we're
right?
doing?
I had so much fun this weekend, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. I told Marigold. That was fun.
Oh, yeah, she went to Marigold in Keswick.
Really?
That restaurant is banging.
I did.
Yeah, I
brought
saw
a
you
special
post it.
guest.
And good for you. We're going to have to do that.
What'd you order? Can I ask?
I ordered what you posted
Okay.
on your stories, which was what the burrata.
burrata?
I ate a lot of food. The
Yeah.
burrata, and
good.
I had
Avocado pizza?
salmon. No, I had salmon, and then I had dessert and coffee, and I had a drink. And I'm not a good drinker.
So you had a good time.
I had a great time.
And somebody drove you home, right?
And somebody
There
definitely
you
drove
go.
me home.
There you go. 'Cause you're super responsible.
Very responsible.
Very responsible. So you know the inventory. I mean, it gets to the point that we're almost tired of talking about it, right? It's inventory. And you know, one of the questions that I was having, I've had a couple of meetings about the missing middle, right? Which is the missing middle is intended to help inventory and grow inventory. And some of the folks that were opposing it, you know, my question to them was, okay, fine, we don't do this. What do you think's going to happen? Right? So what's the solution? If you don't want to do that, great. Give me the solution to go ahead and change this, because otherwise the price points are just going to keep on climbing on that end of it. And I'm excited about, I'm wrapping it back to Zion's Crossroads. I'm excited about Zion's Crossroads.
Yes.
We don't have the water yet. We have the $20 million worth of debt, but we don't have the water yet. which it's coming supposedly in the next 12 to 24 months based on my conversations. Once that happens in the small area plan, I think you're going to see some magic happen out there.
It'd be so great. I mean, there's a huge opportunity for people, and so many for developers, for builders, for buyers, for community growth. I mean, it's the perfect place for planned growth. So hopefully it's done right. It'd be nice.
Emily's got an answer to your question.
Yes.
It's hard to say if rates go up, what that will do to the market. With these historically low rates, clients are able to afford over $50K more in a home than a few years ago. If rates go up, they will afford less. If sales prices stay the same, I don't know if that will help inventory or not. I suppose it would level out buyers in some sense. I would like Keith and Maggie's opinion on this.
Yeah, I agree with all of it.
Look, I think rates will will loosen the market a little bit. But, you know, what we were talking about, the inventory is 14 at Lake Monticello. We consider a healthy somewhere between 80 to 100.
Right. We are a long ways away from healthy right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a lot of new inventory to come to market that's needed.
Yeah, I do not. And this is odd, right? I mean, I've been doing this since '87. You've been doing this a very long time, also. I don't ever remember having a conversation about what one thinks the next 12 or 24 months are going to be in interest rates, and people are making predictions. What those rates might be. That's never happened before. But look, you know, the only way I know how to increase inventory is to create more. Right, you know, it's just the only way to do it.
And we need that. We need more new construction because nobody built for a whole decade. So for that reason alone, we need new construction.
5.5 million under inventoried across the country.
And in order to make up the difference, I read a stat the other day, we would have to build 1.5 million.
Which ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
1.5 million new homes.
Per year.
Yeah, per year.
Wow.
And then we would also have to, you taught me this as well, have to limit the red tape. I mean, we got builders out there that are hesitant to build, that are pivoting models to remodeling companies instead. And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, Liberty,
you know what I'm saying?
The market is telling them to do that.
Yeah.
Susan has...
Or
they wouldn't even meet
Genius
with our clients.
Is telling them to do that.
Liberty wouldn't even meet with our clients unless they were ready to sign a contract. I mean, that's how...
And that's not arrogant. Wow. That's not anything.
It's just the market.
It's just...
they don't have the time.
It's also to check the fair housing box, right? You know, we have to treat everybody fair. So if you're ready to buy, you're ready to sign a contract, you've been pre-approved, you went all that stuff, then I can talk to you, because otherwise I've got 3 other people behind you ready to go. This is a very, we deal with this with the land trust all the time. That you have to be very methodical about how you do this, so you follow the fair housing, so you don't feel like you're alienating anybody. That they're ready to go. They've got all and that's why you need a trusted advisor, a Maggie Gunnels or Keith and Yona Smith, to make sure those boxes are checked before we sat down and talked to them.
Well, several times actually this last year. Not even just that. It was just, I want to explore what you can offer me as a builder, and they wouldn't even explore it. And because people weren't ready to sign a contract that day, I've never had that happen before. Usually you got to make the sale happen.
Do the dance.
Yeah, you got to do the dance. And so there was no dance even. But, you know, I think it's because they're just...
Well, there's no
so
dance because there's no
busy.
inventory.
Yeah, they're so busy.
Which is the band. So if there's no band, you can't dance.
Yeah,
how about this? How's this going to impact rental prices if the inventory remains lower? Can I get a take from Maggie and Keith on that? That's from Dan, and he predicts that if rates change, it's not going to impact growth at all in this area, that the growth will continue, meaning the sales of properties.
The pool of buyers are so deep. That if it knocks out 10 or 20% of that, the buyer pool is just huge.
Right.
And the rent, there's just pool for buyers, tenants. I mean, isn't Charlottesville 60% tenants?
54.5%.
That's awfully close.
It's awfully close.
Yeah.
And we have, like you said, our buyer group is deep. We've got Northern Virginia, we've got New York, we've got Connecticut, we've got up and down the East Coast. And
an interesting thing I can share about Colonial Circle, it has an apartment complex as part of it.
That's great.
And so it'll be really the first one in Fluvanna County to be built. And the builder petitioned Fluvanna County to get a little bit of a tax break to commit that they would not exceed, I believe it's 60% of the area median income. So, that'll be some affordable rental units, about 125 of them.
It's needed.
But keep in mind that conversation I just had, those probably won't be ready for another 1.5 to 2 years from now.
Right.
On
right.
that end of it.
So, Yes Realty Partners, a presenting sponsor of this program. Same with Ally Property Management.
I was just sorry, just like squirrel.
Closure Title and Insurance Company.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, this show, you bring a very fantastic dynamic to the program.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, upbeat, knowledgeable, fun, approachable, which is the whole concept of what we're trying to do here with the Monday Market Monitor.
That's exactly right.
How about some closing thoughts?
Oh, call me if you want to sell your house.
ABC, always be closing. I love it.
I was going to say after they call me first, but anyway.
Look, a friendly competition is good.
No.
And then hire me.
There is no competition. It's pure respect.
Yes.
Absolutely, hands down.
Absolutely.
Look, I promised everybody, I promised Maggie that we would bring you back regularly, and that's what I want to do.
I would love it.
We'll bring you back regularly every couple of months so everybody's schedules kind of sync up, because I think what we've just talked about, particularly in Fluvanna County and Lake Monticello, we'll be able to report in. You know, I kind of look at this as we're chairing a board meeting here, right? We're going to report in 2 months from now or something like that and say, okay, what's changed? And is what we talked about today happening? Or is it going the other way? Or is the interest rates climbing on that end of it? But, you know, Maggie, thank you so much for doing this. The reason my squirrel kicked in, I looked at the time for the first time and I did not realize
11:30.
it's over.
I know
11.
I'm ready to keep going.
You're great. Nicholas Irby said Maggie was great. Love having her on the show. Fantastic program. Got that from multiple people today on the show.
Going to have the Irpies here tomorrow. I'm excited about
Very
that.
nice.
Thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure.
This is so
You're
fun.
always welcome. We'll schedule out 2 months from now and we'll just have a great time.
I love it.
She's Maggie Gunnels. He's Keith Smith. This gentleman over here keeps us on track is Judah Wickhauer.
Yay, Judah.
Liza, the rescue from Caring for Creatures, behind the scenes as well. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the Monday Market Monitor presented by Yes Realty Partners, Closure Title and Settlement Company, and Ally Property Management. Airs Mondays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love Seville Network, guys. Thank you for joining us. Have a good day.